Stay close to the river and cry, and the river's gonna feel you're the god of rain. It's gonna worship you like God and creator for ages. And all the fairies of the forest will come. They wanna show you to the dance of night. This is the age of Aquarius. God of rain, it's gonna worship you like God. to the river and cry, and the river's gonna feel you're the god of rain. It's gonna worship you like God and Creator for ages. And all the fairies of the forest will come. They wanna show you to the dance of night. This is the age of Aquarius. Of night. This is the age of Aquarius. Hey!
Okay, now, let's see. I need to check myself. Here. What? Doing it in appropriate places. Stand by. Okay.
頭にくるぜ。戦いが大好きで優しいサイヤ人なんてよ。頑張れ、カカロット。お前がナンバーワンだ。
I believe we're good. Little sis, if you do jump in, just please inform me if the music is overlapping my voice, so it's too loud at all. Adjust accordingly, but it seems should be fine. Alright. Yeah. Story. We are now at chapter 4. Prince's Legendary Awakening. Alright, we'll see how we go. Summary. Vegeta had grown more powerful than ever before, and he was confident that he could take on Frieza. However, Beerus told him the secret to Frieza's true power and advised him that it's not yet the right time for him to challenge the Galactic Emperor. However, Vegeta's Saiyan pride and stubborn nature caused him to defy this warning. He went on to challenge his greatest enemy. It was there that Vegeta learned the devastating truth about Beerus' part in the destruction of his home planet. The wrath of the Saiyan Prince explodes. The fourth part of Vegeta's backstory about his mortal life before he became a god of destruction. And this is also part 2 of my reading. No technicality. Digress. The past year since Vegeta left with Beerus, Frieza had taken the God of Destruction's warning into his mind and started training for the first time in his life. He had been wondering what Beerus meant by his words before he left with the damn Saiyan Monkey Prince. Frieza was well aware of the Saiyan's ability to get stronger in every battle, and while this alarmed Frieza during those years, the Saiyans were alive and fearing an uprising from those barbarians. He was never worried about this when it just came to Vegeta himself. It's impossible that a lone Saiyan, even if he was considered a prodigy and the most powerful of his kind, to be able to surpass the Emperor's greatness. Frieza himself was also a natural genius. He was a member of the most feared clan across the universe. Destroyed entire worlds and sent races to extinction for years and possessed enough destructive power to destroy an entire galaxy. Surely a lowly Saiyan like Vegeta won't be able to do such a feat despite all of his abilities. Yes, he was remarkable of a warrior with prodigious abilities, but he will never hold a candle against Frieza, no matter how much he trained. they're still definitely light years apart when comparing their strength and ability. He wanted what Beerus had seen on that monkey, that he, the mighty Frieza, didn't have, and he chose to take Vegeta and train him. He mentioned it was for his entertainment. Frieza still could not believe that he fell right into Beerus' trap. He swore that he would do whatever it takes to bring Vegeta down for good, and make Beerus pay one day. God of destruction or not, he will make sure he will give Beerus a taste of his Frieza wrath, and make him regret that he chose that monkey Prince over him. With those furious thoughts in mind, Frieza decided to train for the first time in his life. He would stop at nothing until he was sure he could destroy both Vegeta and Beerus. He was sure that if he trained relentlessly, he would be able to pull out all of his hidden abilities and reach a power unforeseen before. This is rather interesting to have a reason to train and a goal to reach. Though it seemed impossible to reach, Frieza was more than determined to be able to do this. Oh, Whis gasped in surprise, blinking his wide eyes. Below him, Vegeta was eagerly waiting for his response. The angel promised him that if he managed to hit him once, Whis would give him everything he wanted. However, it seems that Whis didn't expect that Vegeta's wish was this one thing. He wanted to fight and test his newfound strength against Frieza, his own worst nemesis who destroyed everything he once had. Vegeta pouted. What? He said anything I want. Of course, a promise is a promise, but I'm afraid to say that in this current state of yours, you won't be able to defeat him. See, Lord Beerus have warned Frieza about you, and knowing Frieza, he will certainly do everything to never let someone he deemed as lowly Saiyan monkey eventually usurp him. Frieza had been training as much as you do during this past year too, so I'm telling you right now, you are still no match for Frieza. Oh, he said, thank you for letting me know about that. But your words only made me even more eager to fight him. I mean, it would be too boring if I surpassed him that quickly. Whether I am still no match for him or not, I still want to do this. No, I need to do this. I needed a trigger to finally become a Super Saiyan. Super Saiyan, huh? Whis observed Vegeta for a moment and remembered his conversation with Yogengyo several nights ago while he was taking care of Vegeta's injuries. Yogengyo did mention that with Vegeta's progress in his training, he might be able to become the legendary Super Saiyan much sooner than they had expected of him. It is possible that the Oracle Fish's theory was true, but Whis was worried that if Vegeta ever becomes one, will it be enough for him to destroy Frieza? After all, Vegeta was still a 9-year-old child. If Vegeta indeed transformed into the legendary Super Saiyan at that young age, will he be able to control such power, or even himself? The Super Saiyan of legend was known to possess incredible power, about 50 times their normal power level with this boost. It also increases the Saiyan's thirst for battle and desire for blood, causing them to become overly excited and uncontrollable. Whis was aware that Vegeta could perfectly control himself in his Ozaru form, but Super Saiyan. Whis opened his mouth. Say something. A harsh voice suddenly yelled above them. No, you're certainly not allowed to do as you wish. As for now, Prince Vegeta. Vegeta and Whis raised their heads to the direction of the voice, fighting Beerus, levitating just above them. Vegeta staggered a few steps back as he stared in fear of the newly awakened God of Destruction. His jaw dropped and his eyes widened. Beerus-sama, he gasped. Oh, my lord, you're awake, she stated. Beerus gently descended next to his guide angel, his arms folded behind his back. The Hikaishin looked around before settling his eyes on the Saiyan prince. Things seem to be doing well Things seem to be doing well around here, Beerus murmured. Yes, my lord. So, how's his progress, Whis? I heard the boy's overconfident about wanting to challenge Frieza. Beerus. His words caused Vegeta to inwardly freak out, knowing that Beerus somehow didn't like what he just heard. Vegeta lowered his head in shame just to avoid that spine-chilling gaze Beerus was giving him. Whis tilted his head thoughtfully. Let me think for a moment. Vegeta has significantly gained a considerable amount of strength in these past few months. As you can see, he can freely move around without any assistance now. He had completely gotten used to the gravity pull of this world. Ah, yes, I can see that he's indeed stronger. That when he first arrived here, Beerus agreed, sensing the boy's power. He finally addressed the prince. Prince Vegeta, you've become quite cocky just because you gained this new strength of yours. I expected so much from you, but this behavior is rather disappointing. Like Whis mentioned, you aren't the only ones training to become stronger. As of now, Frieza's still light years ahead of you. I highly advise that you continue your training with Whis. I know it isn't enough. I just want to release a challenge and get the trigger that I need for me to push myself into becoming a Super Saiyan. What do you mean? You have Whis in here, and he's a lot stronger than he looks. Yes, I know that, but Vegeta drove. Muddling. It is because you had a grudge to settle against Frieza. I know that you have a reason to hate him, and you're planning to use that anger and hatred you have against him to trigger your transformation to a Super Saiyan. Is that correct? Vegeta nodded. Yes, that is correct. Beerus rolled his eyes. How ridiculous! And here I thought that you didn't care about your people when they were obliterated after planet Vegeta was blown up. You even killed your remaining comrades and destroyed countless planets and lives in your rampage. Couldn't care less about the Saiyans. It was their fate because they're all foolish weaklings. They all got what they deserved, Vegeta clarified. I simply wanted Frieza to pay for the humiliation he had put me through. I just couldn't stand what he just did, but it didn't mean I cared about my people at all. Beerus smiled a sarcastic grin. Oh, is that so? Very well then. Why don't you fight me and let me see for myself if you are truly capable of taking Frieza down? Fight between Vegeta and Beerus ended as quickly as it did. Despite all the full-powered attacks Vegeta threw at Beerus, the God of Destruction simply dodged them all playfully. Vegeta was beginning to lose his cool and facing difficulty with landing even a single punch on Beerus' smug face. This is what a God of Destruction can do. Power's unreal. Vegeta thought fiercely as he panted. Yes, I can see that you've made quite significant progress, and I do commend you for that improvement. However, this is not enough for you to at least match Frieza in his true form, Beerus told him. Excuse me. The beauty of muting your mic. Going to check now. Yeah, it's all good. Now let's. Peter was confused. True form, he repeated. What does Beerus mean by that? Beerus gazed at him with a look of boredom. Oh, you didn't know? Frieza hides several transformations to control his overwhelming power. You still have a long way to go, Saiyan. So heed my word and continue your training with me. Vegeta was devastated. He couldn't believe what he just heard. Frieza had more power than he thought he had, and both Beerus and Whis were significantly even more powerful than that monster. Someone who prided himself in his strength, thinking that he was the best warrior among his kind. Vegeta felt so belittled in this world, despite his Saiyan ability to grow exponentially stronger with every battle. It seemed that all the things he endured weren't still enough. How many years would it take for him to reach the level? Now, what happened to that indomitable fighting spirit of yours, boy? Beerus asked. I just don't understand. You have indeed become stronger than I was before, but you will get in there, Vegeta, was assured. Just because you aren't strong enough now doesn't mean that you wouldn't be strong enough in the future. It takes significant time to reach such a goal. Why else do you think Beerus-sama chose you instead of Frieza? Whis! Beerus snarled in Whis' direction. Vegeta looked at Beerus in curiosity. You did? Beerus shrugged his shoulders and cleared his throat. That mouth of his tactless guide angel annoyed him to no end. Beerus relented and decided to just admit it. I did, but that doesn't mean that I won't change my mind about choosing you. So don't you dare waste my time and disappoint me. Now, if you're done whining about wanting to fight Frieza, use the time you have to train. If you manage to do that, you might reach that goal of yours soon. Beerus turned to his guide angel. Whis, give him another reward for his improvement other than fighting Frieza. As you wish, my lord. Then, Beerus walked back to the direction he came from to take another nap. Whis turned to Vegeta. Now, you heard what Beerus-sama said. Do not worry about anything. At the right time, you'll be able to reach your goal. In the meantime, focus on your training and improving yourself, okay? I understand, Prince replied with a disappointed tone. So, aside from wanting to fight Frieza, what else do you want? Asked Whis, noticing that sad look on the boy. Okay. Brief pause. Okay, well, sorry. Okay. Hey, buddy, shout out to you. That's hilarious. Alright, it's kind of unprofessional, but I'm just gonna go on a brief pause of a break. I have a drink of water because I was like kind of choking. Anyway, don't touch that dial. Oh my god. Son of a! I always make the same mistake as the other day. Oh my god. Good thing. I had to clear my throat. Ah, you heard it. Supposed to not hear it. Anyway, so pondering for a while. Can't rush a true genius. Vegeta pounded for a while. He didn't have any other wish from wanting to test his strength against Frieza now. While it was devastating to hear from Beerus that Frieza was keeping true power behind transformation, it only made him more genuinely curious and excited. Instead of letting his fear and shock demotivate him, he used this knowledge to his advantage. Still has a goal to reach, but he had doubts because he didn't exactly know just how strong Frieza is. The fact that the bastard is also trained. What's going on? Vegeta asked Whis to forget about that wish for now and save it for it some other time. He had to focus on his training. He told Whis to start training with him again. Whis happily obliged. It was until several days later that he decided to make use of his plan. Vegeta told Whis that he needed to get something on planet Frieza 79, an heirloom his father gave him before he left his home planet. Whis indeed brought him to planet Frieza 79 and dressed him up with black leather pants, a black leather jacket, grey balaclava mask, and black hooded cloak. Vegeta wasn't impressed by his new clothes. Whis told him that he shouldn't be recognized or else Frieza would learn he is back and might decide to hunt him down. Vegeta angrily obliged. Vegeta told Whis that he was getting hungry, so he told him about an eatery where he and his same comrades used to eat a delicacy known as churbrosha, something similar to a chocolate brownie shake. Curious, Whis decided to come with him. While Whis was busy eating and enjoying the taste of churbrosha, which was the first time eating in his probably billion years life, Vegeta excused himself to the bathroom. As Whis put down his spoon, he turned his head to the direction Vegeta went into and muttered to himself, "Oh my, such a stubborn little child." Meanwhile, inside the Galactic Emperor's chamber, Frieza was talking to his high-ranking soldiers, whom he just used as a punching bag during the past few months since Vegeta's disappearance. Standing a few feet behind him were his new right-hand men, a short blue alien with a large black nose that made him look like a humanoid koala named Sobe, a tall purple-grey humanoid alien called Kagoma, and a burly red humanoid alien with huge brown horns and a brown nose named Chizami. The fools did a great job helping me reach this new peak of power, he told him as he looked down at his clenched fist. We are most honored to serve you, Lord Frieza, Kagoma responded. Frieza chuckled, but his laughter eventually stopped when they heard a commotion outside. What the hell is that noise? Frieza demanded. I will check, sire, Sobe offered, but as he came near the exit, the door blasted open and a powerful shockwave pushed all of Frieza's men backward, crashing to the opposite wall. Frieza scowled. Who would dare to do such a disrespectful entrance to his chamber? A dark cloaked figure stepped inside the Galactic Emperor's kingdom. Sheer size of the unexpected visitor told Frieza who this might be. What a pleasant surprise! How wonderful of you to come back and visit me, Vegeta. Did you miss me? Did you come here to ask for your death already? Hello, little sis. Just ate lunch. Hope you enjoy. And what may have that been, may I ask? So, I ask, music is not loud, you can hear me? Fine, fine, loud and dandy, clearly. Vegeta, you mean that traitorous Saiyan Prince? Vegeta, sire, Sobe gasped. Turned his head towards the small figure. He had only seen Prince Vegeta once back when he first entered the Frieza Force and heard so much about him being one of Frieza's favorites for having unbelievable destructive power. and battle talent. That was too much for a child like him. During his 3-year stay on the Frieza Force before his sudden disappearance, Vegeta was quite popular among the troops, not in a positive light though. He was known for his open rebelliousness, stubbornness, pride, impatience, arrogance, and short temper. Sorbet also heard that Vegeta's ruthlessness was almost similar to that of Frieza. It was crazy talk among the force about how he had no normal reaction to his people's death, or when he had cold, partly watched his comrades die and laughed as he destroyed that planet, where he left them for the dead. Boy, it was fearsome in every way possible. After a year of disappearance, did Vegeta finally return to serve their master once again? Vegeta didn't expect Frieza to easily recognize him. He stayed silent for a moment, observing Frieza with his newfound ki, sensing ability that Whis taught him during his training. It is indeed true that Frieza was hiding such massive ki potential, something he didn't expect him to possess. Such a damn monster. So, I guess it is true that you have been training this past year. And here I thought the great and mighty Lord Frieza, the fearsome galactic emperor of the universe, never feared anyone, especially a Saiyan like myself, Vegeta told him with a mocking grin. Frieza chuckled, though he was inwardly pissed at the insults the Monkey Prince was throwing at him. Foolish boy, I have nothing to be afraid of about a rotten little monkey like yourself. What I'm preparing for you for is challenging Lord Beerus one day, just so I could make him pay for the humiliation he had put me through. Is that so? Vegeta smirked under the balaclava, covering his lower face. His eyes darkened with his hatred and bloodlust. Too bad that won't happen, because I will be the one to finish you off here and now. You, finish me. Don't be absurd, Saiyan. Learn your place, or have you forgotten just how much you have feared me? Vegeta cackled. Feared you? Never. Then let me remind you just how fearsome I am. Frieza disappeared from where he stood, surrounded by a flashing burst of his energy. Vegeta calmly raised his left hand to block Frieza's right fist as it attempted to punch him on the face, much to the Galactic Emperor's shock. What the? Frieza gasped. Vegeta flared his ki, and a burst of bluish-white aura enveloped him. Frieza tried to attack him using his free hand, but Vegeta grabbed his wrist. Frieza, thinking that he would be able to overpower the boy, struggled to attack him. He tried kicking him, but Vegeta would block it. With both the Saiyan Prince and the Galactic Emperor powering up to their maximum, all the scouters of the soldiers around him caught reading of their power levels, and everyone was more than astonished at the numbers they were getting from Vegeta. What is this? Sorbet gasped. Vegeta's power level just rose to over 1 million, and it's still rising, like there's no end to it. Possible. He was barely 15,000 before he disappeared. How did he get so much stronger in such a short moment? Izami said breathlessly. With a roar, Vegeta was able to push Frieza back. The Emperor had no other choice but to leap away from the wild child. Once Vegeta and Frieza were apart, the trembling of the ground stopped and their violent energy dissipated. I see where your confidence is coming from. It seems that Beerus did train you well, he said. Vegeta snorted out loud in a haughty manner. Of course, I've endured harsh training under Whis and Beerus for the past year, and slowly but surely I have grown much, much stronger than the last time you saw me. And with this power, I am finally in the process of becoming what you feared the most. Frieza rolled his eyes. Don't be absurd. I have no such fear. Really? Then what is exactly the reason why you have destroyed the Saiyans then? Isn't it because you fear that the legendary Super Saiyan will soon rise to send you to hell where you belong? Too bad that the only Saiyan you have spared and favored is the one who will fulfill the 1,000-year prophecy of the Saiyan warrior race. Your worst nightmare. I know that because it was already foretold to me by the Oracle Fish. You talk too much. It is time to silence you, Frieza roared. He was about to attack Vegeta when the Saiyan suddenly said something he did not expect, causing him to poke the punch halfway. Transform, Frieza! What? Did you not hear me? I said transform, Frieza. Frieza straightened his back and let out a dark but amused chuckle. I'm surprised you know of this. Beerus told me that you hide your true face behind that camouflage of yours. Show me your true form and your true power, Frieza. Vegeta goaded. Foolish child. Fine. If you wanted to see pure terror, then be so be it. Then perhaps I could make you fear me once again. A blinding flash of aura exploded around the Emperor as Frieza's ki skyrocketed to astounding levels. And then the entire planet trembled, caused by Frieza's overwhelming rising power. The Emperor's body flashed a blinding light as it began to grow about 9 feet tall. The air around him thickened and swirled into a violent maelstrom along with his massive teeth. When Frieza appeared in his second form, Vegeta wasn't impressed. He wondered why Beerus was so worried about him fighting Frieza. This is something equal to his own power. Vegeta and Frieza continued fighting, and as Vegeta had expected, both are still equal in strength. Soon, Frieza gets impatient and started to transform into his third form, which to Vegeta's dismay looked too horrendous to look at. Frieza's face changed completely. The top of his head elongated and bulged backward, and he grew long horns on his back. It was against this form that Vegeta began to struggle against Frieza. Yet, despite already knowing that Frieza was more powerful than he was by now, Vegeta didn't lose any hope. He was a Saiyan after all, and the more he is pushed to the brink, the stronger he would get. Soon, he would be able to break through his limits and finally trigger his long-awaited transformation. For his best, waiting for that snap to happen, which sadly didn't. It was then Vegeta had realized that he was at his wit's end, and he started to question what was wrong with him. Was Beerus correct that this isn't the right time after all? Wondered. What's the matter, Vegeta? Have you finally realized your foolishness and seen that a mere monkey like you is at his limit? How about if I tell you that this isn't my true form yet? Then Frieza mocked him that the form he was using wasn't his true form at all, just to spite and break more of Vegeta's fighting spirit, causing the prince to step back, shaking. Frieza laughed at his desperation and took his sweet time, taking in that look and smelled fear radiating off the poor Saiyan child. With an evil grin, Frieza started to transform once again. Vegeta wasn't already struggling before, he was trembling with utmost fear by now. Once Frieza revealed a simple but sleek-looking form, his true form as he revealed, Vegeta started to lose hope. Thought that Frieza could only transform once. Didn't know that Frieza was keeping more power and transformation. Vegeta inwardly apologized to Beerus for his stubbornness and accepted his fate to die here. Frieza, seeing that Vegeta's spirit had been broken, enjoyed his sweet time torturing the boy. Vegeta cried out and screamed in agony as Frieza broke his bones and his spine by repeatedly punching him on his back. Once he finally got bored, he hurled the prince into a nearby rock, and Vegeta fell to his back on the sand. Vegeta appeared above him and stepped on his ribs. Frieza appeared above him and stepped on his ribs until he crushed them under his foot. Vegeta cried out in agony, "You bore me, Vegeta, and here I almost believed that you could be a real challenge for me, when you returned just as what Beerus warned me about. I do commend you for your improvement this past year, but it seems that no matter how hard Beerus would train you, you will never be a match for me after all, and considering that, you will never return to where Beerus is alive." Finally, Frieza would deliver his killing blow with a death beam, charging his deadly ki on the tip of his index finger. Vegeta watched groggily with his blurry vision at the sparking purple reddish ki being pointed at him. "Let me tell you something first before you die, so you could have something to ponder on to the afterlife," Frieza told Vegeta. "The one who ordered me to destroy the Saiyans and planet Vegeta was Lord Beerus." Hell. What? Vegeta gasped. Why? How should I know? All I know is the fact that Beerus did it for his entertainment. To see which among us is the better candidate to become his successor. He chose you over me just for the sake of watching you suffer. But now, at least you have something to regret and hate yourself for eternity in the afterlife. This is the end, Vegeta. As Frieza was about to fire the deadly death beam into the devastated Vegeta's heart, Whis suddenly appeared right in between Frieza and Vegeta to grab and squeeze the cruel Emperor's wrist. "That's enough," Whis warned with a stern look in his usually kind eyes. "I will not dare kill the boy if I were you, Frieza, or you risk to incur the wrath of the God of Destruction." Frieza, who was surprised at the unexpected intervention of the God of Destruction, stepped away from both Whis and Vegeta, cradling his broken wrist with his other hand. "Leave the boy alone," Whis warned him once more. Frieza backed away and snorted. "The least you could do is to keep your stupid monkey pet on his leash. He was the one to come in here to attack me." Paused for a moment, giving Whis a sly grin. "That is, of course. He still wants to come back to you." Frieza's smile was reeking of pure evil. Whis wasn't impressed at all, but chose to remain silent as he turned to Vegeta and carefully picked him up. You liar!" Vegeta roared, tears in his eyes. The boy kept on screaming from both his physical and emotional pain and his rage. "Let me go! Don't touch me! I hate you all! Let me go! How dare you lie to me!" cried out while he pounded his fist against Whis' chest as the angel nonchalantly walked back towards the God of Destruction's world. Once there, Whis dropped the ballistic Vegeta into the ground without any word. Beerus was there, terribly displeased. Whis had reported to Beerus that Vegeta just went against his orders, goaded Whis into thinking that he came to that planet just to eat Tobrosha with him. But he challenged Frieza on his own instead. Beerus, out of his anger, slapped Vegeta so hard the boy flew several meters sidewards and slammed into a tree. Vegeta, with all his injuries from his near-death battle with Frieza, couldn't move any longer. Beerus stomped towards him and harshly pulled the boy by his collar, glaring at him with his furious eyes. "What did I tell you about challenging Frieza, boy? I told you it is not yet time for you to do this. Why did you go against my order? Beerus roared at him. Vegeta didn't answer. He simply glared at the god of destruction in silence with his bruised, twitching, swollen eyes. For some reason, that look in Vegeta's black eyes was unnerving. It was full of hatred, bitterness, resentment, all bottled up in those dark, murderous onyx gems. Vegeta was controlling himself. He knew that in this state he was powerless against Beerus, so he decided to stop himself from it. Beerus shook him in his hand. How dare you glare at me that way, Vegeta? You better learn your place, boy, or I will destroy you. That did it. Destroying me. Just as how you ordered Frieza to destroy my kingdom and my people? Vegeta asked as a hoarse, croaked voice. These words, filled with the pain of betrayal, caused Beerus' anger to be replaced by utmost shock. Grip on the boy's collar loosened. How? How did you know that? He asked in a softer but stuttering voice. Frieza told me. Is this the reason why you stopped me from challenging Frieza? To prevent me from knowing the truth from him? No, the boy shrieked. Why did you do it? Give you the motivation to train even harder. You bastard! Vegeta spat. Take your filthy hands off of me, he warned. Vegeta! Let me go! Beerus dropped the boy to the ground. And he watched as the resentful Vegeta painfully crawled away from him. Whis tried to help, but the furious boy sent him a glare that made him stop in his footsteps. You too! Leave me alone! While trying to crawl away from both the God of Destruction and the Guide Angel, Vegeta had finally succumbed to his unconsciousness. It was when Beerus ordered Whis to take Vegeta back to his room and put him to bed, where he specifically told Whis not to heal Vegeta this time, as punishment for the disobedience he did. Truth be told, Beerus just didn't want to deal with Vegeta at the moment. He wanted to let Vegeta think for a while about his wrongdoing, about misunderstanding the reason for Beerus' order to destroy the Saiyans and planet Vegeta. Once Vegeta had finally calmed down, he would have to talk to him about it. Beerus consulted the Oracle Fish for advice. He didn't expect that Frieza would run his mouth and tell Vegeta his involvement with planet Vegeta's destruction. He wasn't planning to lie about it or hide that fact for too long. He believed it simply wasn't the right time for him to learn that. He was planning to use the truth in hopes of one day triggering Vegeta's rage, when it is time for him to learn his godly technique. Beerus' plans had backfired due to Vegeta's stubbornness, and he didn't know what to do. Should be honest with him, Beerus, Yogengyo advised, and do not try to sugarcoat things. Vegeta may not trust any of us after what he learned, but he would understand it one day. Just tell him the truth and he may forgive you. Hey, I'm not going to ask him for forgiveness. I did what was right. Those Saiyans deserve to be destroyed. They're a bunch of nasty fools who only knows to cause unnecessary trouble across the galaxy. Okay. Then what are you going to do if he goes against you, huh? He won't. He will not breach our contract. He won't be able to. And how confident are you about that? Beerus gave the Oracle Fish a nasty grin. You will see. For nearly 2 weeks, Vegeta was unconscious. Once he woke up, he found a tray full of food next to his bed. There was a note there from Whis telling him to eat the food, then proceed to the field where Beerus was waiting for him. While Vegeta hesitated to eat at first, his damn stomach couldn't take his hunger anymore, and he gobbled up the food in no time. He knew he needed the energy and the strength to make Beerus pay right then. He rode towards the field he was told to go. The grass had withered around Beerus. He was levitating in the center in a prone position, his left leg on top of his right, his arms under the back of his head. The sight of him made Vegeta's anger boil. Remembering that Beerus ordered Frieza to destroy his kingdom, Fish shook in his rage and he suddenly had the urge to attack him. As Vegeta walked closer, he inwardly wondered if he could keep an attack with the sleep god. When he was finally a step closer to the Kaishin, Vegeta bit his lip. Hesitating, he watched as Beerus snored lightly, bumbling incoherent words as he He was surprised to see Beerus' eyes pop open, and he said, "You're here." Vegeta froze in place before he regained his composure and stood straight up. His whole glare focused on Beerus as the god stood in his "You wouldn't dare try to attack someone defenseless, would you?" Beerus asked him. Vegeta darted his eyes away, crossing his arms over his chest and quietly snorted. "So you have come. This told me you were here," Vegeta finally answered, but with a cold tone. "You're still angry. Mind your own business. I'm also angry about your disobedience to my orders. Who cares? I care. You could have died in there. Why do you care?" Peter asked him, still with his cold, angry tone. "You ordered Frieza to destroy the Saiyans, but both of you left me alive for some reason. Not only that, when I was about to get killed, you had at least saved me. Why did you do it? I know you were looking for a successor, hence the condition to my wish. But to think that you could replace me with Frieza, and only choose me for the sake of entertaining yourself, just to ensure that I suffer? How dare you, you bastard!" He growled furiously, His body was trembling with rage by now. Beerus sensed something happening with Vegeta. So instead of apologizing, he decided to provoke the boy's anger even further. "So, what are you going to do about it? Not like you cared about your people. Didn't you once mention that they all deserve to die because they were weaklings in your eyes? I only did my duty. Your people are a bunch of fools who only cause unnecessary trouble across the universe. I would have destroyed you all when I arrived on planet Vegeta, but then I met you. I gave them mercy and the chance to exist for your sake. Then, why me?" "Because I thought you were different from them. But now, I could see that you are no different than the others. You are an ungrateful, disrespectful brat just like your father. A prideful, arrogant, stubborn, ambitious fool. Not to mention that you look just like him," Beerus told him in a cold voice. Beerus, insulting him and his father, only surged Vegeta's rage even further. Despite his bitterness about the king, Vegeta still cared about defending his father's honor for the sake of his pride. "You utter scum!" he roared in pure rage. Something snapped within him. Something fearsome, a sleeping beast, bloodthirsty and feral, had been awakened. Its scorching breath burned the young prince, invigorating him with power not seen for thousands of years, enveloping him in glowing golden energy. "I am going to destroy you. I swear, I am going to destroy you one day, Beerus. You are going to pay for this and all that you have done." Vegeta snarled in a pure animalistic sound. His body was shaking uncontrollably, his head snapping up and down, his black hair rippled upwards and flashed a golden light. Beerus gave him a confident smile, knowing that this could be interesting. Can you? What are you going to do about it? Above them, the dark clouds rolled and bolts of lightning struck down the shaking ground that crackled on the surface. Dust and debris floated around them, all caused by the surge of energy of this legendary awakening. I will never forgive you for this. You will pay with your blood. With a rage-filled monstrous roar, Vegeta cried out in the skies. He let go of all of his wrath and allowed the beast to take over him for that moment, and it changed him, awakened him to his ascension as the legendary Super Saiyan. Beerus stared at Vegeta's tearful red eyes as he glared back at him with a furious and murderous look. The wrath of each Saiyan seemingly emanated from his scorching golden energy. His muscles vibrated with primal excitement, and it was obvious that Vegeta's remaining rationality was fighting a losing battle against a more primitive mind within himself. His rage was so intense, he could not control it at all. He wanted to spill blood and cause insurmountable destruction in a berserk rampage. Despite this, instead of fearing the wrath of the newly awakened legendary Golden Saiyan warrior, Beerus goaded him to attack. Vegeta's wrath explodes and the Super Saiyan blood awakens. I am going to destroy you. I swear I'm going to destroy you one day, Beerus. You are going to pay for this and all that you have done. I will never forgive you for this. You will pay with your blood. Come, he said. He wanted to test out the boy's newly awakened Super Saiyan power, while it was fueled with the desire to kill and destroy. Without any words, Vegeta charged at Beerus with blinding speed and a bloodthirsty roar. Beerus successfully dodged Vegeta's first attack and sent a powerful punch straight to his face. However, instead of allowing the force of Beerus' fist to send him rocketing backward, Vegeta stood his ground and turned his head towards Beerus. An animalistic and bloodthirsty snarl seethed venomously through his bared fangs as the glare Vegeta was giving him intensified with his desire to kill and destroy him. It was when Beerus felt terrified of the Saiyan Prince. This boy wasn't the same Vegeta he had been talking to a few moments ago. This was every Saiyan's fury and cry for justice merged with the overflowing wrath of a crown prince who had lost everything. His terror caused Beerus to cautiously take a few steps back. Just to be clear, Beerus was not terrified of Vegeta's power level. It was the sheer amount of intense rage and uncontrollable bloodlust that made him anxious. He knew that if Vegeta completely loses control of both his newly awakened Super Saiyan powers and his fury, it would be problematic for him to stop his berserk rampage. Ah, thank you very much, Lucy. Yes. Alright. Definitely reminds me of Furious Mutation as well. Taking advantage of Beerus' shock, Vegeta sent a flurry of rage-filled attacks to the god, which Beerus eventually eventually easily blocked with his right hand once he had recovered and snapped out of his surprise. Despite finding all his attempts useless, Vegeta was so blinded by his rage that he didn't care. He just wanted to rip this damn cat to pieces, kill him, and feast on his blood. Even though it is entirely impossible for him to do that, since Beerus is an immortal deity and was still billions of times stronger than him despite his newly awakened Super Saiyan might. Beerus dodged a swipe of Vegeta's leg by jumping and then struck the boy on his chest with his feet, sending him flying backward. Vegeta recovered and stretched his arms out, fired blast after blast from his palms towards Beerus, chasing the guard in thick smoke. He flew right towards the smoke in an attempt to land a double axe handle strike, but he realized that Beerus had disappeared. It was too late when he realized that the Hakai Shin was right behind him after Beerus kicked him to the ground. Vegeta crashed face first on the ground and he let out a painful scream when he felt Beerus land on his back. I only did my job as the deity responsible for death and destruction, Vegeta. Your people have been causing so much trouble across the galaxy, causing other races to suffer. You know very well that your people weren't originally like that. How could a race of proud warriors suddenly become this violent and ruthless? They are compared to being savage monsters instead. Because your father changed them. His ambitions led the Saiyans to become killing machines and destroyers. He built his kingdom on top of countless deaths and the destruction of worlds. He sold the pride and honor of all Saiyans to Frieza to be exploited for the sake of all his ambitions, for more power and to rule the universe. It was because of that fact that I, the god of destruction, decided to end your father's reign of terror as divine punishment. Since I am a merciful god, I decided to give them the chance. That's how I met you. Even if your father had disobeyed my order and stole what was supposed to be mine, I still gave them another chance for your sake. You understand now, Vegeta. Your people brought their destruction to themselves. You would have been destroyed along them, but I spared your life because you were the only one who deserved to live. As I said, I thought you were different. Don't think I will be thankful or be grateful for this, Beerus. I never asked you to save me. Of course you never did. And I know that once you learned the truth, you will hate and curse me just like this. Don't you remember? That feeling is the same feeling you had when you first met me. Those rage-filled eyes, the desire to kill and destroy me. This is what made you different from the rest. The reason why I spared your life. Nobody in this universe hated me as much as you did, nor had the desire to kill and destroy me as much as you did. While you are still light years beneath me, I know that there will come a day that you will reach a power close or greater than mine. You are sane after all. The more you fight, the more powerful you become. Your rage and your hatred towards me, turn these into your power and your passion to reach your goal. Just as how you did today. Hearing Beerus' reason, Vegeta felt that something wrong was going on. Why would Beerus be interested in someone who hated him? Seeing that Vegeta had finally calmed down, Beerus finally stepped back. Feeling that the weight on his back had been lifted, Vegeta painfully picked himself up from the ground, panting and wiping the blood off his lips with the back of his gloved right hand. Beerus put his hands behind him and smiled at the Saiyan Prince proudly. Congratulations on finally becoming a Super Saiyan, Vegeta. I look forward to seeing more from you. It was then Vegeta realized that he finally became a Super Saiyan, the legendary Golden Saiyan warrior not seen for thousands of years. He was too consumed by his rage that he didn't notice the change in his body. He looked down at his hands, marveling at the feeling of legendary power flowing through him. I am a Super Saiyan. So this is how it feels to become the legendary Golden Warrior. He mused with himself for a moment, However, he wasn't feeling up for a celebration, knowing that despite his power, it was nothing compared to what Beerus was capable of. He may equal Frieza in his true form, but what if that bastard was still hiding more transformations than just that? Vegeta doubted this power wasn't enough. He needed to get even stronger than this. Beerus walked back to his castle, leaving Vegeta alone. As the prince stared at Beerus's back, he began to wonder what Beerus meant by his words. For some reason, he was suspecting something Beerus was trying to hide from him, and he didn't like it. He decided that he already had enough of all these lies. From then on, Vegeta was subjected to harsher training by Beerus himself. While Whis was gentler, Beerus was brutal. It didn't take hours for Vegeta, even with all of his Super Saiyan prowess, to be utterly defeated and left broken by the God of Destruction. Every day he tried and tried, but all of his efforts were futile. Vegeta was becoming impatient. He could not decide if he was even getting stronger from all of these beatings. Aside from that, he couldn't shake off the fact that he was suspecting something was wrong with Beerus. He still hated the god for what he did, but he was worried about something. Whis noticed that Vegeta had been growing quite distant from all of them lately. He was having doubts. Beerus and Whis talked about Vegeta one night. The prince was already asleep. Vegeta's making quite a progress, Whis mentioned. Not giving his all in his training lately, Beerus noticed. Is it possible that him knowing the truth about what I did caused him to somehow lose all that fighting spirit and determination he once had? So you noticed too, huh? Then I'd say that his anger about the issue has nothing to do with him being not too focused on his training. Something else is bothering him. He was doubtful about something. What do you mean? Is he doubting me or himself? I cannot tell exactly. Vegeta has this strange ability to keep his mind impenetrable, so he could keep his thoughts to himself. I'll try to ask him if you like. If this would keep him from focusing on his training, then by all means do what you want. The next day, Whis brought Vegeta with him to shop for groceries at the intergalactic market, thinking that Vegeta may need a break from Beerus' brutal training. While on their way via Whis' hyperspace flight, the Guy Angel tried asking Vegeta what his problem was, and Vegeta simply responded, "I'm just having doubts about my progress. I couldn't tell if I was getting stronger or if I'm just wasting my time." Vegeta, you are getting stronger. Good. Tell you frankly, I am impressed that you have achieved great powers at such a young age. You are doing well, and your progress is amazing. There's no wonder why Beerus-sama had chosen you. Whis knew that what Vegeta told him wasn't the answer he was seeking, so he asked once more. Do you remember the question I asked you when I started training you? What? I asked you why you chose to make a contract with Beerus-sama. You told us it was because you wanted to destroy Frieza. That's why you made that contract. But then, I highly doubt that this is the only reason why you did such a thing. I asked you the true reason why, and you told me that it is none of my concern. So, to be fair with Beerus, you're not being truthful yourself, Prince Vegeta. You're also hiding something from us. I wish the both of you could open up about this to each other. Vegeta lowered his eyes, feeling guilty about what Whis just told him. It was true that he hated Beerus for lying to him about his involvement in Planet Vegeta's destruction. He would never forgive the God of Destruction for that. He also hated the fact that Beerus was hiding something else important from him. He knew that Beerus was grooming him to become his successor one day, hence the condition to his wish. But after Frieza revealed that Beerus chose him over the Galactic Emperor, Vegeta couldn't understand why. Beerus did mention he had something to do with him being a Saiyan, but he doubted that considering how Beerus ordered to destroy all Saiyans in the first place. If it had something to do with his hatred towards the Kaioshin, Frieza also hated him. If it was about abilities, Frieza was more of a prodigy than Vegeta ever was. Vegeta couldn't shake off the feeling that he could be replaced anytime Beerus lost his interest. And then, after several futile efforts, he was beginning to doubt that he would live up to Beerus' expectations. Then he may lose the only chance of him becoming the thing he wanted to become the most, the best warrior in the entire universe. In his life, he learned that there will always be someone more powerful than he is, no matter how strong he becomes. While it was an interesting challenge to overcome such seemingly impossible obstacles, prideful nature couldn't stand the fact that there will always be someone out there more powerful than he is. He hated the feeling of inferiority the most. The truth that Vegeta was hiding from both Beerus and Whis was the fact that he never wanted to become a god of destruction because he was interested in the godly position or duties they had. He didn't care about becoming a god at all. He only entertained the thought because he believed that if he indeed becomes a god of destruction, he will be superior in this universe. And there will be nobody in this universe who could stop him or go against him. He will become the most feared and most powerful deity across the universe. Entire civilizations would submit to his every whim as if he ruled them all, therefore puffing up his already inflated sense of pride and proving that he was truly born to rule over these low lives. It was more interesting than what his father wanted him to become, which was to kill Frieza and rule the universe in his place. He will be immortal and will live for eternity, being the only Saiyan left in the universe. He will be the sole proof that the Saiyans once existed and have become the greatest in the cosmos. He just wanted to seek the greatest power above all and prove his superiority. That's all. Of course, he tried to hide all of these from Beerus and Whis. He wouldn't be caught having the desire for supreme power that he wasn't even sure he could grasp. And now that he was having doubts about his abilities, his uncertainty began to grow even more. Will there ever be a time when he will be able to surpass Beerus and make him pay for what he's done? Or was just to show him who is stronger? Or Frieza so he could finally have his revenge? How long would it take for him to do that? Would there be a price for him to pay if he was able to gain the power he seeks? There were so many unanswered questions, and Vegeta was losing his patience with his gradual and useless improvement. When they arrived at the destination, the intergalactic market was bustling with customers across the universe. While Whis was busy in the free-hit soul, Vegeta sneaked out of the planet by riding an unsuspected delivery spaceship from important interplanetary deals. Due to his self-doubts and shame, Vegeta wanted to escape and never go back to Beerus ever again. Forget about the power of destruction or any power at all, just as how he became a Super Saiyan. He would grasp greater power on his own without the help of others, especially not from those rotten liars. He regretted ever making a contract with the Kaioshin. Being trained by others wasn't a way of a true Saiyan warrior. That's why he decided to turn away from that stupid contract he had made with the God of Destruction. Once Vegeta thought he was finally free from Beerus, he was immediately tortured by the agonizing cries in his head. Quickly grabbed and shook his head to rid of the pain and cried out when it only intensified to crazy levels. He rolled off the floor trembling and hitting his head hard against the closest thing he could find. It was as if he was losing his mind. He didn't know where the damn voices were coming from or what it was, if they were real or just a trick his mind was creating. But it was something he could hear, feel, and not endure. It was different from his usual brutal punishment from Caesar that was more comfortable to him rather than this endless wave of agonized screams in his head. It felt like he was going insane. It's so painful. His head felt like it was burning and cracking at the same time. He could not take it anymore. Gina suddenly found a foreboding presence near him. He found Beerus watching him like a disappointed grandfather. He removed one of his hands from his head and reached out to the foreboding shadow, pleading, begging. Please, please stop this. I'm sorry, Beerus-sama, whimpered. What are you talking about? I'm not doing anything, Beerus responded coldly. You did this to yourself, Vegeta, for breaching the contract you made with me. What? I told you, didn't I? That if you turn away from our contract, I will destroy you and your entire Saiyan race. You made a deal with me, remember? Those voices you hear in your head are the souls of all your people, including your father, mother, and younger brother. Their souls were sent to a realm between heaven and hell. Their souls serve as hostages to ensure that you will abide by the contract you made with me, and as a reminder to you as well that our deal is inescapable. You chose this path for yourself, Vegeta. No, I don't want this anymore. Please, let me go, Prince begged. The deal we had is inescapable, but there is a way for you to break our contract, and that is if I show you my mercy. I could destroy you here and now, Vegeta, Beerus said. He outstretched his right arm out, his palm open and facing the crying boy. A purple spear filled with the energy of destruction formed right in front of his palm. Hey, Jason, thank you for tuning in. Is this what you want? To be destroyed without a fight? Remember that once I destroy your entire existence here, you'll never go to hell or heaven. Of course, you'll never go to heaven, considering the sins you racked up yourself while being under Frieza. Your soul will never be reincarnated into this world. You will cease to exist as if you were never been born at all. Not just you, but all of the Saiyans as well, since they're all taken as hostages in his contract. You're the only remaining Saiyan left alive in this world. Once you are destroyed, the name of your once great and mighty proud race of warriors will forever be forgotten. Is this really what you want? No! No! He cried out. Vegeta didn't want this one either. His pride won't allow him. He had his duties to his people, being the crown prince. Even though his people were already dead, he still felt a sense of duty to uphold the name and pride of the Saiyan warrior race. Then, what do you really want? Beerus asked. Sorry, I'm sorry. I won't run away again. Please, just stop this. Please, the boy pleaded. Beerus sighed in relief, but his expression was mixed with disappointment. He put his hand down, dissipating the spear of destruction he created to threaten Vegeta. Slowly, the screaming voices halted, and Vegeta was left completely traumatized by the experience. He was both shaking in fear and shocked at what happened. Beerus felt bad for him, so he stepped closer to him and gently picked him up in his arms, like a grandfather who adored his grandson. He just had an injury. Like any other child who was afraid of something, Vegeta sought Beerus' comfort. He leaned his head against the god of destruction's chest and kissed him. Tears kept on flowing out of his fearful eyes. Beerus reached one finger to wipe the tears away. Now, it's over, boy. You can stop crying now, Beerus told him. Vegeta sniffed once more, and then nodded. Beerus patted the boy's head, before embracing him like he was his own son. Let's go back home, Whis. They suddenly appeared next to him, holding a bag full of groceries. Yes, my lord. During the hyperspace travel, Beerus asked Vegeta something he was generally curious about. Tell me, Vegeta, why did you choose to continue with the contract instead of choosing to be destroyed? Saiyans were already dead. They shouldn't have anything to do with you now. Anyone with your choices would choose to be destroyed so they could be with their people. Yet, you chose not to. Vegeta stayed quiet for a moment, thinking about how he should answer the question. He remembered Whis' advice to open up problems to them. He wondered if his being secretive had something to do with why he wasn't improving. He decided to answer the question truthfully this time. Thought about what you said. If I get destroyed right there, the Saiyans will cease to exist in this universe. I, as the crown prince of my people, will never allow that to happen. I have a duty to uphold. The pride and glory of my people now rests on my shoulders alone. I will make sure that the great pride and honorable name of the Saiyan race will exist forever, so long as I live. I will be the living proof that the Saiyans once existed in this universe. Beerus and Whis looked at each other. Finally, Vegeta was opening up his true intentions to them. Beerus scoffed at this. How ridiculous. You really are a self-centered child, he said. If you continue thinking that way, you will never become an effective god of destruction. You will never wield the godly powers of destruction properly. You have to destroy any of your stray thoughts and unnecessary emotions, thinking only about destruction and nothing else. If you could master that, then you will have no limits to your power. Being a Saiyan yourself, who continuously grows more powerful as you fight, I am sure that your powers will be greater than mine. Really? You believe I could do that? Vegeta asked Beerus. Beerus nodded back and he responded, Of course, that is why I chose you. Of all people to become my successor, I chose you over Frieza or anyone for that matter. You were born to rise and ascend to the level of the gods. That is why I spared you from being destroyed along your people. This is your fate. But of course, this isn't the right time for you to do this yet. I still have several years to put you into the right shape, so you better prepare yourself for harsher training. Vegeta chuckled. Is that so? I guess I'll look forward to that, Beerus-sama. And just like that, Vegeta and Beerus settled their differences. Vegeta, the power of a god. Alright, yep. Let's just go with this chapter. 15 years passed and Vegeta has surely grown into a powerful warrior. Having learned several new powers and techniques one day, Beerus told him that it is time for him to take his first steps into godhood. This is part 5 of Vegeta's backstory, telling the tale of Vegeta's mortal life and his ascension to godhood. So that's an awesome pick. Alright. Might take a brief retrieval. Alright, be back momentarily. Stand by. Son of a... Again with the mic. Alright, so I'm back. So thank you for still staying tuned in. Just gonna go on a bit of a digression at the moment. This actually has inspired me to play one of these days, Kakarot, in terms of the initial DLC, where the prince and the clown, they both attain the power of God. It just, well, if you don't know the story, kind of spoilers, but it plays differently to the initial Battle of Gods movie and Super, right? Not gonna spoil it, so whatever. But yeah, so far, I played it on the Switch, DLC, Bardock Alone Against Fate, I completed it. There's the Kid Prince side story, waiting for the Dragon Ball 23rd World Tournament, ironically, to be released. I wouldn't continue the story otherwise. And then the real-life Kakarot per se, where I have the pleasure and the privilege of playing that as well. We'll go for it from there. All because my PS4 took a shit into playing DVDs. Only game I have right now that's accessible is Fighters. Then if it's 2, I would have to get the damn digital downloads and stuff, etc, etc. Well, good thing I was actually taking a digression, because yeah, my mic was on another half. I'm not going to pull another half an hour of just seeing the text. Okay, good, I have to hear the music in the background, but not hearing my princely voice. I had to do the entire thing again, because I want to voice it all, of course. Oh my god. Okay, well, that's enough digression. Several years had passed, and Vegeta had grown up into a young adult. During the past 15 years, he trained vigorously under both Whis and Beerus. Sometimes he would also train on his own, or Beerus would ask Whis to take Vegeta to some planets to learn various skills and techniques he wanted the boy to learn. Sometimes Beerus would order him to fight some mortals place as a test to see the results of the Saiyan's training. Beerus found Vegeta's Saiyan instincts to be very bothersome, especially when Vegeta turned into a Super Saiyan. His personality would completely change whenever he transformed. He acts dominant, becomes very cocky, wilder, more violent and aggressive, a far cry from his calm, confident, shrewd and calculating fighting style. It was as if his primal instincts when he becomes an Ozaru had been unleashed in the Super Saiyan transformation and greatly intensified it. Due to this, Vegeta had a knack of becoming an unstoppable destructive killing machine, if not for Whis and Beerus being stronger than him by a long shot. It was just as Whis had predicted. Vegeta was just too young to contain such power. Whis explained that this behavior could be caused by Vegeta's Saiyan drive, amplified by the excitement brought by Super Saiyan power that seemingly kept on rising the more his fighting spirit burned. Vegeta could be having a problem controlling himself with this, since he was too young and inexperienced to be possessing such great and legendary power. Beerus was somehow intrigued, but he cannot allow Vegeta to lose control every time he's in Saiyan form. So Beerus sent him to planet Yadra to take some training from a master of spirit control named Hybera, the leader of the Yadrans. Hybera took Vegeta under his tutelage for a year, where Vegeta was taught how to perfectly find the balance of his mind, spirit, and body. From being an impatient, aggressive, wild child, Vegeta was able to learn to fight calmly after his training with Hybera, having fully mastered the spirit control technique. He was able to have access to every bit of power he had. It was here where he learned to control his primal urges whenever he transformed, ascended to various levels beyond Super Saiyan, without having his dominated and reigning from. By becoming a master of spirit control, Vegeta was also able to learn advanced techniques such as teleportation, instant healing, proliferation, advanced energy manipulation that allows him to use energy from either within himself or that of others or his surrounding environment. Energy manipulation to create giant masses of energy made beasts he could really command at will, and the force spirit fission technique that forcibly tears combined key energy apart, like that of fusions or absorptions, or in reverse, forcefully takes energy and collects it together within itself. 24. At the Prince. Here old Vegeta returned to the God of Destruction's world. Both Whis and Beerus noticed Vegeta's change in his maturity after his training on Yaga, and also Vegeta. Agus. He returned to them looking almost exactly like his father during the Saiyan King's younger days. Childish bangs he used to have were cut off completely, revealing a receding hairline and a prominent widow's peak inherited from his father. When asked by Whis why he decided to cut his bangs off, Vegeta responded that it bothered him a lot these past few years because it made him look like a child and less intimidating based on his experiences and encounters on the planets he was sent off to train or fight. While he still had his impolite way of speaking, he was calmer and more serious in his training. The childish mischief and explosive temper tantrums he once had were gone. Even his fighting style had completely changed. In the past, Vegeta was too focused on causing brutal damage every attack he had, thus causing him to tire out much quicker. He was giving all he had with each of his. Now, while his normal attacks still packed depth and strength on him, he chose to conserve more of his energy for the killing or finishing blows. He also learned how to properly control his power input on each attack. With this, Vegeta could summon more of his hidden strength if needed. Whis and Beerus were impressed by these improvements in technique. Soon, Vegeta was hailed by Whis to be the best mortal fighter he had ever seen. This persuaded Beerus that perhaps it is time for Vegeta to ascend to what he had been waiting for. First step towards godhood. Well done, Prince Vegeta. You've improved quite a lot. From a brat this small who was a real pain in the ass to raise, you are now a bit taller and a truly powerful warrior. Perhaps the best we have seen in our lifetime. Congratulations, Beerus. Vegeta laughed at Beerus' words. Hey, I did grow a lot, didn't I? Maybe by a foot, Beerus told him with a chuckle, ruffling Vegeta's hair with his hand. Vegeta pouted. Cheech! Before giggling at the nice feeling of Beerus rubbing at his hair like that. You should prepare yourself. Your first step towards godhood will arise soon. I'm just having Whis prepare something for you. Vegeta raised his head, his eyes surprised. Godhood? Do I become a god of destruction now? No, boy. It is time for you to ascend to a Super Saiyan god. Super Saiyan god? What's that? Vegeta asked, giving Beerus a baffled look. Beerus grinned at him, wanting to laugh at his protege's comical expression. For being the crown prince of the Saiyans, I'm surprised you didn't know about this. Vegeta shrugged his shoulders and mumbled, No, I've never heard about it before. Whis returned from the preparations he made and responded to Vegeta's curiosity. A Super Saiyan God is an immensely powerful being created when all Saiyans combine their power into a single. I don't understand how I would be able to do that. Aside from myself, all Saiyans are dead, Vegeta stated as a matter of fact. Beerus suddenly shouted at him, making Vegeta flinch. Why else do you think I sent you to train on planet Yadrin, boy? You're going to use the abilities you learned from Pybera to summon forth the spirits of your people and have them combine their power with yours. The first thing Vegeta thought was him calling out ghosts and talking to dead people, and these things freaked him out. Other than that, the fact that he had to ask these ghosts to give him the power he needed in order to become this Super Saiyan God thing was scary and humiliating to his pride. Yes, despite his growth and the changes he has had compared to his childish past self, Vegeta's Saiyan pride remained. Vegeta shrugged, unsure about wanting to do this. But he hesitated. What now? I didn't know that the great and mighty Prince Vegeta is afraid of ghosts. Beerus playfully mocked him. Vegeta snorted silently. Fucking kidding me. Beerus abruptly yelled at him, causing Vegeta to step backward this time. Enough complaining, boy. Just go to Whis and have yourself undergo the process of the transformation. Vegeta stared at Beerus like the god had grown two heads right in front of him, but he reluctantly obliged. Fine, I understand, he stammered. He turned to Whis and quickly followed him just to keep away from this god, wondering why Beerus was being this pushy about this thing. Whis led Vegeta towards some kind of magic circle. The angel dawdled on the sand in the open field, using the bottom of his scepter. Vegeta listened to Whis' instruction. He was told to stand at the center of the circle, focus his energy, and then remember that feeling of connection he had with his people back when he heard their screams of agony when he tried to run away from the contract he made with Beerus. Then he must command the souls of his people to give him their inner light, to help him reach his Super Saiyan God state. Using his spirit control powers, he must concentrate the powers being transferred into himself and mix them with his food. Once Vegeta had fully understood what he must do, he stepped inside the circle and let out a breath he was holding back due to his anxiety. Still wasn't sure about asking dead people for help, but he had to do this or else Beerus might destroy him for disobeying his orders. I call upon the spirits of my people, the once great and mighty warriors of the moon. Saiyans, heed the call of your living crown prince and share with me your power to awaken your legendary savior. The surroundings suddenly became cold, and Vegeta felt a chilling sensation on his back. He tried to ignore it. Beerus and Whis watched. The dark clouds rolled above them, sending thunder across the planet. Cold gusts of wind blew around Vegeta until several shapes of bluish-white light, shaped like humans with spiky hair and muscular bodies. Saiyan men, women, children, all with tails, faded in and encircled the prince. Shapes reached out their hands towards the remaining survivor as they did his command. Excuse me. Vegeta was engulfed by waves of blue light. Still, with his eyes closed, he tried to stop himself from letting out a pained groan. It seemed that Whis' instructions were effective, and he could feel power entering through his every pore. It burned him, feeling like it was acid or fire being forced through his veins. He wondered if, after all of these, he would explode or be a victim of spontaneous combustion. The foreign power combined felt strange to him, It was unlike any other feeling. Suddenly, his body started glowing a blinding light. The pain magnified to new heights. The hell is with this transformation? First transformation never felt this intense. Vegeta inwardly panicked and wanted to stop this nonsense. Fear shouted at him, concentrate. Vegeta tried to endure it a bit longer. Soon, the blue light changed color to golden, and then to a blinding white glow. He was as unapproachable as the sun. Vegeta bit his lip, fighting back a scream. Could hear Beerus shouting at him to forget the pain and focus on combining these energies with peace. He let out a few breaths, in and out before following Beerus' order. The glow of his body intensified. It burst upwards into the skies, creating a pillar of white light which was immediately engulfed by a crimson fire. Dark rolling clouds gave way to the flame. At the sight of the fire, Beerus grinned. Energy surrounding Vegeta was divine ki. Then Vegeta's body blazed red. The figures of the Saiyan spirits around him faded out, and so as the energy surrounding the prince. From the roots to the tips, Vegeta's dark hair slowly changed color from jet black to crimson red until it glowed like a hot iron rod. Fire embers drifted from his hair down to his feet. Vegeta slowly opened his eyes. His irises were bigger than usual, red, surrounding the black pupil. Vegeta looked down at his hands, checking if it didn't turn into some miserable charcoal after that intense scorching feeling of the transformation. This is what it feels like to be a Super Saiyan God. Power is unbelievable. It's extremely massive. It feels vastly different from the raw, primal powers of the legendary Super Saiyan. Vegeta observed. Compared his new power as warm and calm, similar to that feeling of a bright sunny day, while peacefully resting on the side of a waterfall. It is a contrast to the overwhelming and rage-filled feeling of the Super Saiyan transformation that's like a violent, devastating storm. In front of him, Beerus and Whis were smiling, while Yogenko was in awe.
Whoa! You look exactly as I predicted, Vegeta-tan. I told you red hair and red eyes would suit him well, Beerus-sama.
Yogenko exclaimed. Vegeta raised his red eyes to Oracle Fish. What do you mean? Yogenko had seen you ascending to this state a long time ago, Whis clarified. Well, to be honest, she had seen you gaining the powers of the legendary Super Saiyan and the Super Saiyan God, since you were prophesied to be the legendary savior of your race. Beerus-sama had been eagerly waiting for you to reach this state for years, Whis clarified. Really? You see the reason why we always told you to be patient in your progress. We've already predicted that happening this time. Of course, we didn't tell you anything about it for the sake of not spoiling your future. Plus, the prophecies and visions the Oracle Fish sees are subjective to various changes too. So bear in mind that there should be a few uncertainties. Beerus chimed in. It took you a long time to reach this state of yours, Vegeta. Despite that, I would like to congratulate you for reaching this far. Now, Beerus-sama, Vegeta has achieved the transformation you've been waiting for. You may relish the fact that he can finally give you a proper fight. Beerus chuckled. It has been a long time since I had quite a proper challenge. He turned to look at Vegeta's red eyes. So, Vegeta, are you finally ready to fight? He asked. You fight me. Does that mean you're going to be serious now? Vegeta asked Beerus, happy and quite surprised that Beerus wants to fight him, instead of just sparring with him at long last. Depends on how well you perform in this match. Don't disappoint me or else I might accidentally kill you. Like I will let that happen. I hope you make this fun for me by fighting seriously. Vegeta crouched down into his signature fighting stance. He flared his new godly aura, engulfing his body with a crimson fire. You can count on that. In an instant, Vegeta charged at Beerus with a right hook, which Beerus blocked with his hand. The impact created a massive crater under their feet. Both Whis and Yogenko let out a unified "Oh!", telling their awe at such a display of power. So, how does it feel to finally have your first step towards godhood, Vegeta? Beerus asked. I'm not sure about that, Vegeta responded coldly. Don't you feel good at all about that feeling of godly power flowing with you? Continue. This power is unbelievable, yes, but I do not like the fact that I was not able to gain this power on my own. You and your pride, that never changed about you at all, Vegeta. But then, why did you accept it and choose to do so? Because you told me so, duh. Aha! Aren't you getting a little cocky now? That isn't a tone you shouldn't be using with me. I need to discipline you. Then try me. The fight continued. It seemed that both are equal in strength and skills. Vegeta and Beerus fought across the world of the God of Destruction, causing several shockwaves that blew up the landscape. Beerus chuckled, clearly enjoying the fight the Prince of the Saiyans was giving him. How amusing! I never thought I would be using 70% of my power against you, Vegeta. This is the first time I've used this much power against a mortal. Really? I'm not giving you my all, too. How about you start using your full power before you regret it? I see that you're still the same cocky brat. You'll soon see the true might of the God of Destruction. Vegeta suddenly appeared and disappeared in random places, leaving several after-images that would have left anyone confused. As he did that, he appeared right below Beerus and sent a potent punch straight to Beerus' face, which took the God of Destruction by surprise. Beerus was sent flying backwards several miles from where he just last floated. After being able to stop his momentum, Beerus realized that Vegeta followed him all the way and found the same Prince levitating right above him. Vegeta calmly stretched out his right arm, palm facing towards Beerus, concentrating his godly power. He formed a blazing spear of crimson fire before he unleashed a scorching blast of flames right towards Beerus, who took the attack head on, but upon noticing the power of the attack, defended himself at the last second. Blast hit the ground, causing a massive wildfire. Throughout the forest, Vegeta didn't have enough. Remembering what Beerus did to him, Vegeta used his anger to increase the power output of that attack. The heat intensified, and a blast of crimson flame burst outwards. It burned the entire field. Vegeta panicked as he watched as the burning ground below. In his thoughts, he wondered if that was enough to claim that he had finally avenged his evil spirits. Doubted it would be enough, especially when he saw Beerus' shadow within the billowing smoke. Vegeta smirked at the sight of Beerus being pushed back and forced to defend himself. "What's the matter, Beerus-sama? Where has your earlier bravado gone?" Beerus was angry. He didn't expect Vegeta to improve this much in such a short time. Finally getting impatient, he decided to show Vegeta just how much he hated that cockiness he had just now and make him realize that there was still an imaginable gap between them. Displeased, frowning Beerus floated to where Vegeta waited. "You little brat! Seems that becoming a Super Saiyan God has made you too confident of yourself. Time I show you my full power." With a mighty roar, Beerus unleashed his godly aura, a dense purple aura filled with the energy of destruction. Flashes of violent lightning snapped from the dark clouds down to the ground. Vegeta leaped back in shock, feeling as if it's not just him or this entire world shaking in fear of the god of destruction's wrath and overwhelming divine power, but the entire universe itself as well. He just couldn't believe what he was sensing. He didn't know that Beerus had this much power within him. Impossible! Even with all the power and new techniques I have, I'm still no match for him. Vegeta gaped at Beerus, his body trembling in utmost fear. Finding the terrified prince, Beerus tilted his chin and grinned at him. "What's the matter, Vegeta? Where had your earlier bravado gone?" he said, returning the Saiyan's earlier words to him. Vegeta tried to snap out of his terror and remain his calm composure. He wouldn't let his fear, anxiety, or his hot-headedness get the best of him any longer. He gritted his teeth at Beerus, not wanting to give up. He flared his aura to charge his Super Saiyan God powers to the maximum, utilizing his spirit control, learning to summon forth all of his power within himself. Beerus tilted his head in confusion. This boy was always too stubborn to admit his defeat, despite knowing he's completely outclassed. Suddenly the fire around Vegeta died out, and his crimson hair and red eyes faded to his normal black color. Feeling that he had lost his grasp on his newfound godly power, Vegeta became utterly confused. What? What the hell just happened? Vegeta asked, staring down at his hands. Beerus fumed. What are you doing? Why are you back to normal? How should I know? Whis floated up between them. Alright, that would be enough for now, you two. It appears that Vegeta-san has maxed out the time he can maintain his Super Saiyan God transformation and powers. What? It has limits? Vegeta complained. Of course. Just as with your previous transformations, you have to learn how to properly control and maintain your powers through training. Beerus pouted. What a letdown! Just as I was enjoying fighting him. Sighed in disappointment, wishing his purple aura enveloping himself as he powered down to 1. What a bummer! And here I thought that godly powers are limited. Vegeta mumbled with a childish pout. Whis chuckled in amusement. Alright, that reaction told him that Vegeta is still the same little Saiyan boy they raised in training. Vegeta-san, you haven't even reached true godhood yet. Your body is still that of a mortal being that has gained the ability to possess the powers of a god. That is merely the first step towards godhood. As we mentioned to you earlier, do not worry though, your next training will be focusing on how you will properly manage your new godly powers. Whis turned to Beerus. So, did you have fun fighting Vegeta-san, Beerus-sama? I suppose you could say that you aren't that bad for being a first-time user of godly power. You managed to entertain me quite a bit. I look forward to fighting you again next time. Make sure to continue your training with Whis and reach even further heights. Vegeta nodded. Beerus yawned and then turned away. Now then, if you excuse me, I would like to take a nap. Whis, give Vegeta a proper reward for his improvement, he said. As you wish, my lord, Whis bowed. Beerus walked back to his castle to go to bed. Vegeta sighed in defeat. And here I thought I can finally do it. Damn it, he murmured to himself. Behind him, Whis approached him. Don't feel too bad about it, Vegeta-san, Guide Angel consolidated him. In fact, you did very well to elicit such a response from Beerus-sama. Now, for that, I would like to reward you with something as thank you for satisfying Beerus-sama with your battle. What reward? Whis waved his scepter, and 100 boxes filled with Maguro Nigiri appeared on the ground. Your favorite food, of course. Vegeta has quickly forgotten the bitterness of defeat as he tapped his ball. It had been a while since he last ate his favorite Maguro Nigiri because of his training on planet Yadrak. Say, what planet did you say this food originated from? Vegeta asked while he chewed a piece of Maguro Nigiri in his mouth and stared at the next one clipped in between the pair of chopsticks holding. Planet Earth. Earth. I wonder what kind of world it is. I read that it was some backwater planet located on the edge of this universe and was inhabited by humans who are considered to be one of the weakest race when it comes to their level of strength. It's strange how a gem like this food could exist on such a small, defenseless planet. Yet, it wasn't invaded yet by the Freezer Force. If I was still in the Freezer Force, I would have invaded that planet already and purged those peasants off the face of the planet. Seems it could fetch a high price in the planet trade market. Peter muttered. Suddenly his eyes widened when he realized something about what he said, and he suddenly went crazy. This bad. Couldn't care less about the weakling humans. Frieza gets his hands on that planet, I may lose my only source of Maguro Nigiri, he screamed. Whis calmed him down by assuring him, don't worry about that. Beerus-sama warned Frieza to never touch the solar system. For that matter, Earth had a lot to offer aside from the sumptuous food. Beerus-sama's anime, manga, and video games related collections took him to Earth. Really? Vegeta gasped. He would sometimes play with Beerus whenever God demanded a playmate to his video games. So Vegeta had seen the Hakaishin's massive collection in one dedicated room in his castle. He let out a sigh of relief and finally relaxed. For some reason, Vegeta understood the reason why humans were weak. They lived a rather comfortable and laid-back life on a small and obscure planet with little gravity. He already decided he didn't like them and would never want to do anything. So, has your curiosity made you want to visit Earth someday? Whis asked him. Vegeta deadpanned with a boring look. I'm not interested. The pathetic inhabitants of that planet make me sick. I want no part in their worthless lives. Oh, is that so? Yeah. You and your pride, Whis chuckled. Beerus-sama would have destroyed the Earth along with all its inhabitants 2 million years ago, but then he discovered the delicacy being offered on the planet, so he decided to spare it from destruction. Those humans are too pathetic. They are not needed in this universe. I understand why Beerus-sama planned to destroy them and why he also spared it. It isn't that interesting. Just the food they offer. I see. Whis giggled, trying his best not to laugh. He could see that Vegeta and Beerus are similar in most ways. He wondered if this is also one of the several reasons Beerus chose Vegeta over Frieza. Alright. Hearing Whis giggling, Vegeta turned his raven-colored eyes to glare at him. What are you laughing about? He asked with a pout. Nothing much. I just see similarities you have with Beerus-sama, that's all. Huh? Vegeta's skull melted and he stared at the angel in confusion. He decided not to ask about it, so he shook his head, snorted quietly, and went back to finishing. After Vegeta was done eating, he asked Whis to train him with him for the rest of the day. He was so eager to see what else is beyond this new power, since both Whis and Beerus mentioned that he's still in his first steps of godhood. Whis was pleased with him, being able to easily grasp this knowledge, except that even in this new state he had, Vegeta knew he still had a long way to go. The Saiyan Prince trained hard for the next few months. It was during this time that Whis began to focus Vegeta's training into that thing he criticized about the Prince's fighting style when he first trained him. You remember what I told you when I first trained you, Vegeta-san? About the areas in your fighting style that needed vast improvement? Whis asked this. Like how I appear to be too wound up with my thoughts before I unleash an attack, which puts quite an effect on my speed. Vegeta replied with a stupid smile. Whis let out a burst of amused laughter. Amazing! You remember the exact words I told you. Of course, Vegeta will never forget since that day Whis told him that. Vegeta had secretly tried to correct himself over that. However, despite all his genius, he couldn't exactly figure out how to do that. How do you even move your body without thinking anything? Is that even possible? He once had speculated about fighting like an animal during a fight or flight response mode. His early childhood memories, he had seen some Saiyans who had transformed into an Nzaru fight in this way. It was brought forth by their primal instincts in their transformed state. Vegeta remembered fighting once this way, when he attacked Beerus after his first Super Saiyan transformation. And to be honest, after all the problems he caused every time he lost his control over himself, he never wanted to fight like that ever again. Pride won't allow him to have this kind of problem in fighting style. Aggressiveness during a berserk rampage upon losing control over himself is a huge problem. It made him wide open to various attacks and waste his energy upon flailing on enemies aimlessly. For him, experience, effective strategies, and analysis are the key to winning battles. Not just having an enormous power level or fancy transformations. That was why he agreed to learn spirit control from Pybera. So what about it? Vegeta asked, a little irritated that Whis found more than one flaw in his trident fighting style. Not like he hated being criticized, he loved criticisms, and he had lots of fun improving his skills to become a better warrior. It's just that it hurts his pride to know that the way he used to fight had this much problem. He, as a tactical genius, had failed to notice this and had someone else tell it right on the face. He listened to more of Whis' lessons, wanting to find out how it's best to enhance his fighting skill. I noticed that you always wound up tense most of the time, especially during battles. When you do that, you cannot operate with your full power. This was more noticeable back when you were still a child. While you have improved by leaps and bounds, you had somehow managed to change this after I suggested Beerus-sama to allow you to train under Master Pybera. Even so, there was another thing you were not able to overcome. You tend to overthink things before you act. While I understand that you are a fighter who relies on tactical strategies, please take note that this will put a limit to your speed. It takes some time for your brain and your senses to travel along your nerves and reach that part of your body you wish to act accordingly to your plan. It is best to allow your body to think and act on its own. Once you're able to do this, you will conquer all kinds of danger. You must remember that mastering this ability is extremely difficult, that even Virasama himself has not been able to master this yet, despite living millions of years already. Really? Then how about the time that I've lost control of myself when I first became a Super Saiyan? Is that the same thing? It's a little closer, yes. In your berserker state, you have indeed stopped thinking and started to attack accordingly to what your body wants. The problem is with your control in your power, and of course, you're still wound up to tense due to the rage that you're allowed to take over when you are in that state. Vegeta fumed. So I guess I was wrong with my theory then, he mumbled. He raised his head to look up to Whis' eyes and asked, "How about you? Have you mastered this?" "Of course. You should have noticed it every time we train together," Whis responded. "Oh, so this technique is more focused on defense." "Not really. You haven't seen the offense side of this technique yet. But let's say it's a bit closer to your theory, but with an empty mind and a calm heart." "I see." Vegeta nodded, frowning to himself. An empty mind and a calm heart, huh? Vegeta couldn't really imagine himself having those things at all. Whis continued his teaching. "Other than that, I noticed during your fight with Virasama, when you first became the Super Saiyan God, that you still haven't managed to control your overconfidence and with yourself. This makes you cocky, arrogant, and makes you lose your focus during battle. You should find the time to balance both your relaxation and your tension." "Okay." "Now that you have access to godly power and managed to master spirit control in no time, it is the perfect opportunity to train you on how to overcome this problem. Don't worry, I will take the time to make sure you can do all of these." "Alright, Whis-sama, let's do this." And finally, after 6 months of hard work, Vegeta was able to fully master the Super Saiyan God state. This impressed Whis so much as he never thought that the Saiyan Prince would be able to master his godly powers in such a short time. "It's amazing how you can easily visualize that of which lies beyond Super Saiyan God," noted after a sparring session. "This isn't enough," Vegeta told him. "Despite all the power that I have achieved, I know this is nowhere near you or Beerus' power. I need to get stronger than this." "I like that mindset. I know you will manage to find a way to break your limits and find what you're looking for," praised him. "Of course, we Saiyans have bottomless potentials, so I'm sure I will surpass Super Saiyan God soon. My goal is clearer than ever." His quest and determination to gain more power, Vegeta pushed himself to train with the bird. After some time, he was able to reach another new and wonderful power when he experimented on combining the two different powers, the legendary Super Saiyan and Super Saiyan God. One early morning, Vegeta dragged Whis into the training field and excitedly told him that he found a way to surpass Super Saiyan God. He said that he got the idea while he was making kohi for his breakfast. "Kohi?" Whis blinked his eyes in wonder. Vegeta was smiling as he told Whis, "You know, when you mix the creamer and kohi in the hot water, it combines into one." Whis was more interested with that once in the blue moon. Good mood Vegeta had this morning than the kohi was talking about. He wondered what was with the kohi that made him this enthusiastic and excited. It seemed that he wasn't well aware of the effects of kohi on mortals, like making them quite hyperactive or overjoyed, for example. "That is interesting. I look forward to seeing what you have found, Vegeta-san," Whis urged. Vegeta braced himself, lowering to a crouching stance and flexed his arms on his sides. Watch me, he told me. Ah! Ah! Summoning the power of the Super Saiyan God, and then the legendary Super Saiyan form within himself. Vegeta began his power up with a lengthy shout. Suddenly he was engulfed by an aura of white energy. His body glowed a blue hue against the bright light, looking like a dark silhouette. Soon the shell of blue energy began to crack and break apart, starting from his feet upwards until it revealed Vegeta in his newly transformed state. With a final yell, his fiery aura exploded forth. Vegeta's new form had cyan-colored hair and eyes, but is almost similar in appearance to his original Super Saiyan state. His aura was a vibrant, fiery electric blue, glittering with tiny, sparkling particles of excess energy. Edges of the aura had a subtle yellowish glow, reminiscent of his Super Saiyan power. Occasional crackles of white electricity snapped off around his body. Whis looked pleased with what Vegeta showed him. Look at that! Your hard work has finally paid off! Congratulations, Vegeta-san! He applauded as he clapped his hands. Vegeta gave off a silent snort, frowning. It seems that it wasn't happy about Whis' praise at all. I cannot stay in this form for too long because it takes a lot out of energy to maintain it. I think it is because I tried to transform into a Super Saiyan while being a Super Saiyan God. It would take more time to fully master this new power. Still, this is unbelievable. You really surprised me, Vegeta-san. To be honest, I never expected you to find a way to surpass Super Saiyan God this fast. You truly are a genius. Whis applauded. Yeah, quite surprised to be able to do this too. It was just an experiment I had in mind. So, since you are the first and only Saiyan to ever manage to do this transformation, what should we call this new form of yours? Vegeta frowned. Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan is quite a mouthful. I don't like it. Whis laughed. I agree that it is a cumbersome way to call it. Then he began to ponder. How about this? Since your hair turns blue, and this form, how about we refer to it as Super Saiyan Blue? Sounds easy to remember. Yes. Now that His Royal Highness the Crown Prince of all Saiyans had given his approval, we shall call this new form of yours as Super Saiyan Blue. Congratulations on achieving a new discovered transformation, Your Highness. Enough with the flattery. I can't stop laughing. Now, I know that you wish to put your new powers to a test. I'm up for it as usual. Feel free to use all of your power. This should help you come to terms with your new form. Alright, here I go. Vegeta began another day of training with Whis. Having discovered a new transformation, no one amongst his people managed to. How fascinating! You've improved so much, it seems you're a completely different person, Whis told Vegeta once the training was over. Vegeta didn't respond. He sat down over the grass, changing back to his face. Something the matter, Vegeta-san? Asked Whis. Did the hyper effect of Kohi finally left Whis? The prince stared at the dark clouds above him, lost in his thoughts. Whis had been congratulating and praising him all day long about the Super Saiyan Blue transformation he just achieved. The guide angel always praised him for doing so well in his improvements, in his training, and he never failed to be optimistic about him While Vegeta inwardly appreciated being flattered, he couldn't help but doubt himself no matter how powerful he became. After all the years of hard work, he finally managed to pull out a power that was never seen among his people. For sure, he could very well be the most powerful mortal in the universe by now, if not for Frieza, who was also a trained maiden. Despite all this, Vegeta was unsatisfied with what he achieved. Knowing that Whis and Beerus were light years ahead of him when it comes to their strength, he still felt small in this realm of the gods. Whis saw the doubt and uncertainty in Vegeta's dark eyes as he stared absent-mindedly at the clouds. Vegeta suddenly said, "Beerus-sama is a god of destruction. And I heard from my father that he is the most powerful and most feared across the universe. He is responsible for death and destruction of all creation. I can tell that Beerus-sama was lying that he was using 70% of his power the last time he fought me when I first became Super Saiyan God." Turned his head to Whis. "I can also tell that you are even more powerful than Beerus-sama, and by a long shot." "Oh, no," Whis gasped. Vegeta nodded. "Yeah, that's why I do not like it when you tell me these things, congratulating me or flattering me with your praises. I know you didn't mean any harm or insult. I know that you just wanted to assure me about the improvement, my progress. But..." Whis watched as Vegeta clutched his hands into shaking. He knew that Vegeta was a very prideful being, but it turned out that the angel had heavily underestimated the boy's pride. Vegeta never appreciated being praised by someone stronger than him, because it felt like an insult to him, instead of honor, no matter what the concern was. "Okay, I understand. I will refrain from doing it again if that's what you want," obliged with a kind smile. "I'm just glad that you finally told me something that's from your heart. Thank you for letting me know you more, Vegeta-san." "Be honest with me, Whis. Aside from you and Beerus, are there other beings even more powerful than you?" "Yes, plenty of them to be exact." Vegeta's eyes widened at that revelation. Both Beerus and Whis were already too far ahead of him for him to realize there's more. "They are not beings from this universe, of course. They're from an entirely different world than ours. This world is called the 7th universe. There are 12 universes in total. Each of them have deities of their own, and there are other deities that rule all over these universes. Once you take on the mantle of becoming this universe's god of destruction, you will meet them." "I see," Peter said. "So that means I still have a long way to go." "Indeed." For a moment, that look of uncertainty remained, until he valiantly shook his head as if to rid off his unwanted thoughts. He abruptly stood up from the grass, a determined look replaced the look of doubt in his dark, slanted, narrowed eyes. "Mark my words, Whis," suddenly said in a tone full of confidence, pride, and determination. "I will surpass every single one of you and become the strongest. I know I still have a long way to go, and it may take hundreds or thousands or probably millions of years to do so. But I swear that all creatures in all the universe shall know what the Saiyan warrior race is capable of with me, the Prince of all Saiyans. I will grow stronger and stronger. Every universe shall tremble before me." We stared at Vegeta without saying anything for a long moment, stunned that a mortal just made an oath to surpass every creature in the multiverse, determined to prove peace and his superiority to all. Whis remembered the day Yogengyo told him 26 years ago about her prophetic dream when the Saiyan Prince was born on planet. "Destined strong one, the one who shall surpass all the gods, has been born." Whis smiled at him and nodded quietly. He knew the Saiyan would be able to do it if he put his mind to it. Not far away from where Vegeta and Whis were, your Gengar was sleeping within her floating fishbowl goblet. Deep blue-green liquid around the powerful fish boiled as she mumbled almost the same words she told Whis 24 years ago.
The destined strong one, the one who shall surpass all the gods, will soon rise.
Chapter 6, Vegeta and the King of All. Okay, and with that, we shall call it adieu. By all means, like if it pleased you and subscribe if you dare desire for more. No promises, we may continue this tomorrow or the day after. I'll just see how my schedule's like and whatnot. Of course, first and foremost, training comes first. Alright then. Enjoy your morning, evening, night, or wherever you're watching this from. Alright, I appreciate the viewership. And I hope you enjoyed it thoroughly, with this of mine. Until next time, once again, not mincing words. Adieu.